So we were celebrating a whole bunch of things tonight, birthdays, celebrations of life. My kid won his championship at the Costa Mesa Little League tonight. Where are my Blue Jays fans at? Hello? All right. So this is special to me because I've always wanted to do a gig with this person. He's an accomplished musician, public speaker, voiceover artist, writer, business leader, TV show host, radio announcer, amongst other things, and he decided to try out stand-up frickin' comedy. He turned 88 in August. And I somehow convinced him to come out of retirement to do this, to ditch retirement and come up here. Please give a warm welcome to my old man, my dad, my freaking idol. Here he is. It's Don Olsen.
Well, I tell you what. You probably wonder what an 88-year-old guy is doing up here trying to do stand-up comedy. Well, that's a very good question. I asked myself that when I came out. And you know, my bucket list was down to just 2 items. Stand-up comedy and bungee jumping. And you know, that's where you jump off a 10-story building tied to a rubber band and you hope like goodness doesn't break when you hit the bottom. And the more I thought about that, the more I remembered that when I came into this planet, when I was born, I came in because of a broken rubber. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going out the same way I came in. Now, I got some wonderful news today from the federal government. And one more payment. And my student loans are all paid off. Now, anybody here go to Newport Harbor High? Anybody to Corona Del Mar High School? Well, this is the time of year that you get those cards in the mail, save the date for your reunion. Well, if you're seriously thinking about going to your high school or college reunion, I have a word of advice. Don't. Because people change. The sands of time shift. You know, everything begins to point down. Well, it's gravity and it's the law. Actually, they ought to change the name of that from a reunion to a competition, because it's a competition to see if anybody even remotely looks like the graduation picture. Now, I went to my 50th reunion of my college graduating class. And there was this person who was a real looker. And this person was there at the reunion. And slightly balding, slight mustache, pot belly, and that was the prom queen. Now, living in Newport Beach and working on Wall Street in New York meant I spent a lot of time on American Airlines. Actually, I had a condo in seat 1A on American. And a typical flight out of LA to New York on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Captain comes on the PA. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to American Flight 32, bound for LAX to JFK in New York. And by the way, we'll be, oh my God! Now that is followed by 30 seconds of absolute silence. Now there are 3 words you don't want to hear at 37,000 feet if you're a passenger on an airline. Oh my God. Now, a little bit later, the pilot came back on and he said, I am so sorry But the stewardess came in and brought me a cup of coffee, and I spilled it right in my lap. Oh my God, you ought to see my pants, the front of them. 3 rows behind me, a guy says, the front of your pants, you want to see the back of mine. Now you always wonder who's going to be your seatmate when you sit down. So one Friday night on the way home, sitting in my regular seat, 1A, this guy sits down behind me and beside me on 1B, and he is the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Now, you talk about a storyteller. This guy can tell them like there's no tomorrow. And again, pilot comes on and says, we're going to be experiencing some turbulence here, so please make sure your seatbelts are fastened. The stewardess came by to make sure that everybody had buckled up. She looked at Muhammad Ali and said, sir, would you please fasten your seatbelt? And he said, Superman don't need no seatbelt. She thought about it for a minute and looked back at him and said, Superman don't need no airplane either. You've watched airline travel kind of progress downhill in the last few years. It used to be very sedate and professional. Nowadays, you can get on an airplane and there can be fistfights on a plane. I mean, they have people trying to open the emergency door and jump out in flight. I knew this was going to happen sometime, but 2 weeks ago, there was a flight from New York to LA, and this couple met on the plane. They were sitting back at coach, row 38. They got madly in love. They decided to make love right there in the middle of the airplane coach. When the plane landed, the feds came on board, they ushered them off the plane. But I'll tell you who I felt sorry for. It was the guy in the middle seat. Now, another group I feel sorry for are parents who have to try to explain the birds and the bees to the kids. Yeah, it used to be the birds and the bees, now it's the birds and the birds and the bees and the bees. And it's the birds who look like bees, the bees who look like birds. But the other problem is we have the birds who identify as bees and the bees who identify as birds, but they still have their stinger. Now my grandson Eric is graduating this week, next week, as a senior from Laguna Beach High School. And he called me a couple of weeks ago and he said, Pops, I need to ask you a couple of questions. So, I'm taking this course in human sexuality. And we're asking grandparents kind of about their romance, their love life. And I said, well, what are you trying to say? He said, well, I'm trying to find out how active your sex life is. And I said, man, they should change the curriculum since I went to high school. I said, you want to know, Eric, how many times your grandmother and I have sex? Is that right? And I said, Eric, the answer is your grandmother and I almost have sex every night.
I love you!
Almost have sex every night. We almost have sex on Monday night. We almost have sex on Tuesday night. And we almost have sex on Wednesday night. Now, George Burns probably said it best when he said, at my age, trying to make love is like trying to shoot pool with a rope. And here's the thing about senior sex. You don't know whether you're having an orgasm, a heart attack, or a stroke. But Viagra's been helping old guys out for almost 25 years now. And you know, they finally found out what Disneyland and Viagra have in common. You have to wait a long time for a 1-minute thrill ride. Ah, yes, Captain Viagra. That little blue pill that promises a great event to come. Almost Monday night, almost Tuesday night, and almost Wednesday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I love you. I hope we can do this again sometime. Now back to the national ceremonies, Craig Olsen.
Give it up for my old man,